Sit back and relax as today's program guides you through all things pop culture and the deepest corners of the internet. Warning, may cause brain rot. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Brain Rot. I'm your host, Maya Henry, and I'm excited to be back for another episode. I know it's been a hot minute, so I'm excited to be back, and we're just going to talk about everything that's happened since. We're going to talk about some of the stuff that's happening in the world right now. I feel like the world is on fire. Things are changing. The earth is rotating at a high velocity, and I just feel like I have a lot of topics and things I've been through since we've last been together. And I just want to deep dive into all of it. We're going to talk about Luigi Mangione. We're going to talk about TikTok ending in the US. We're going to talk about how it's affecting Canada. We're going to be talking about social media in general. We're going to be talking about dating and life and new chapters. New Year's is on the horizon. We've got 2025 fastly approaching. And so I want to talk about some of my goals and maybe just open that dialogue with you guys. Thank you as always for supporting me. If you are driving or you are busy in any way, shape, or form and you just need audio, you can listen to me anywhere on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, wherever there is podcasts, you can find me. So make sure you go check those out. And as well, you can support the podcast by thumbsing up or reviewing this podcast on whatever platform you watch or listen to it on. So I really appreciate it. And also hit that subscribe button. We're so close to our channel goal on YouTube of 250,000 subscribers. We are getting closer and closer. We are only around, I think, 3,000 away at the time of me making this episode. And on top of that, I just want to say thank you to all of the YouTube members, the brain rotters out there, the inner circle that has joined our Brain Rot membership program here on YouTube. Thank you. Thank you. Ooh. Sounds like chaos out there. There is some sirens going on. If you guys can hear that, sounds like some fire trucks that are trying to clear the way. Crazy. I feel like a reporter right now. So just to jump right in, the hot topic of today right now is Luigi Mangione. Luigi Mangione is the alleged suspect and assassin of the United Health Insurance CEO. Now, this is a very interesting topic to me because throughout school, I've definitely done my research on different topics that involve oppressive regimes and things like that, and, revolution, overthrowing dictatorships, stuff like that. And I find some of the patterns that are happening in the Western world very interesting right now. We have a lot of geopolitical unrest, especially in the Middle East, and it always creates a domino effect. And this is stuff that happened prior to World War I, prior to World War II. You sometimes will have like an inciting force, like the murder of Franz Ferdinand by Gavril Princip. And you have these events that are just the puncturing wound of the war or the unrest or the revolution, but the underlying problems that are just waiting beneath the surface are brewing. And we have a lot of those things brewing nowadays, between China, Russia, the Middle East, Israel, Palestine, like all of these different heated pressure cooker situations that are happening geopolitically. Inflation, you're having Donald Trump threatening new tariffs, and the cost of living is just rising. I don't know. Am I being crazy by talking about politics on here? Like, is it not that it's affecting all of us now at this point that we're really talking about it because things are just so insanely expensive? I don't know. Is it just me? Like, I feel like it's unavoidable to talk about these things on the podcast in life because I feel like it's affecting everyone. And I know there's so many creators that just kind of like glaze over the facts of life and they're just like, try this hair care product. Oh my God, get rid of your pimple. And it's like, girl, shit is happening. Like, how are we just creating content without ever commenting on any of it? I find that kind of bizarre. So this like Luigi Mangione stuff, it kind of ties in to me of like the, assassinations of the past. And I feel like it's made such a huge ripple wave. How it plays out in the future, we don't know. And by that, I also mean, how is it going to inspire others? How is it representing a working class group of people that are fed up with these systems at play? We all know that the US is having a lot of issues with their medical system, with the insurance programs, with the things that people can't afford, and how big pharma is monopolizing everything. And all of these essential services and medications are just being charged out the wazoo. You hear someone breaks an arm and then they have a $170,000 bill. It's beyond insane. It's cracked out, whacked out, and it needs to stop, right? Now you're seeing someone who has actually taken action against the superpower, who, according to his manifesto and social medias, has had issues with health problems with his back, his mother as well having a neuropathic disorder, and not being able to get proper treatment, not being able to afford things because their coverage is being denied. And so you have these clear signs when he does the assassination and the shell casings fell around the CEO, said deny, no, delay, deny, depose, I think. So absolutely crazy. And the United Health had that huge scandal with AI rejecting 90% of applicants for necessary medical services. So people are just dying left, right, and center. A lot of people want to say, like, we don't condone murder, we don't condone these actions. But then we also have to think, okay, well, what about all the people that are being killed because they're unable to access the services that are being denied to them by their insurance providers? I think, that is speaking a lot more than just one CEO who's the head of all of that, And I think that's why it's really resonating with people, because most people can understand the feeling of, turmoil when you are powerless and the systems at play are keeping you oppressed. And basic healthcare is so important to your existence and your survival as a human being. So I think Luigi Mangione represents this new wave of people taking action and doing something very visceral and powerful in the moment. And yeah, murdering this or cutting the head off the snake is not necessarily going to stop the snake. It might be like a hydra and two more heads emerge, but it sends off a political message to the country, to the world, that we will not stand for this. And I think in that way, it is so much more powerful as a symbolic gesture than it is obviously as a very physical manifestation of change. And I really think we have to really unpack that and see how things unfold. I'm not saying that Luigi Mangione himself is a super genius, amazing murderer, whatever. I'm not, condoning the murder and saying it's like, an amazing thing, but I am saying that it's pretty interesting to see how this is going to affect the populace and to see if it inspires other Luigi Mangiones. We don't know. And, we always have those people saying the classic adage of eat the rich. This is very real version of eating the rich in a sense. Which is absolutely crazy. So I'm so excited to see how it unfolds. He also happens to be super attractive, which everyone's commenting on. And I think that just fuels, the entire story and fuels his aid. It's crazy how like being attractive can really persuade people to side with you. It's all part of like charisma and leadership and attractiveness. It really does add a lot of power to your cause. Another topic I want to talk about is TikTok. So I called it a long time ago. As soon as I heard about the TikTok ban and I heard about the reasons why they were thinking of banning it and why even Joe Biden's administrations were the ones putting it forward, I started to have some aha click moments in my brain. I was like, well, think about it. So ByteDance is from China, right? And they have unlimited access to all of this data and information, all the algorithms. Think about how many Americans are posting online, how many things are being shared. Think about how addicting TikTok has become, how insane their algorithm is. I don't think any other social media platform can entrance me as much as TikTok. It is the one that I'm the most addicted to, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to as well. Even in Australia, they are banning social media for minors, I think under 16 or something. And you can understand why. It's completely morphing your brain. spying. And something that I learned in my history of espionage course in university is that one of the ways foreign entities try to infiltrate the culture of their enemies is through propaganda. Now, think about it. We have TikTok. We have TikTok designed by people from China. If there is unrest between China, Russia, USA, North America, XYZ, you might have, some pretty dangerous motives that are not being picked up on. And what if, the general population is having things fed down their throats, election interference, all these things, that we don't even realize because we're just scrolling on TikTok with the algorithm, having our opinions and our thoughts created for us through this algorithm, people sharing stories, AI created videos. We can't really discern anymore what is organic and what is being fed to us by the powers that be. And so I definitely think we really always have to be using our critical minds when we're digesting any of the media that we consume, because we can't always verify what is real and what is wrong and how we interpret things in such a casual way on our phones. So I could see how, in retaliation, even to the way that China has banned Facebook and Meta entities from existing in China because it is owned by foreign government and they can do whatever they want with those informations and datas. So it's kind of a tit for tat, right? And if China was concerned about that, then why shouldn't we be concerned about TikTok and how it has completely dominated and taken over the entire industry? So yes, I obviously have a lot of empathy for creators and people who have their jobs and livelihoods through TikTok. It has become such a huge marketplace. I also wonder about the efficacy of it and if it's actually something that is good for us in the long run. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm doom scrolling through TikTok, I consume so much content at once. It's like the junk food of media. I don't remember 99% of what I consumed by the next day. And you're tricked into thinking it's important, valuable stuff, but it's just not. And it fucks with your attention span. It fucks with just so many things about the way that we live our lives. I found myself becoming so much more irritable, so much more reliant on something like TikTok. It's almost like smoking a cigarette. Like it just releases dopamine and it allows you to just go, can't wait to get into bed and just scroll on TikTok for a little bit. And then all of a sudden an hour passes by. It's something that I noticed. You guys might not all struggle with that, but I definitely have. I think it started for me when I was recovering from surgery and I didn't have much opportunity to do stuff. So I started just going on TikTok. So I want to connect with people. I wanted to see what's happening in the world. And it became so addicting. It was this parasocial portal. And there's no other social media quite like it. Obviously, YouTube has shorts, Instagram has reels, but they never fully capitalized on what TikTok was doing. They were never able to fully replicate that algorithm and that community. And so I think in some ways it'll be interesting to see how things transform and shift if TikTok is taken down, which I really do think it will be. Now, how will that affect Canada? I think Canada will follow suit. We are very much the little sibling to the USA. We've already been having TikTok headquarters being shut down in Canada for security concerns. So ABCDEFG, we are just a hair away from the same results. And I could totally see that coming. Not only that, the US has 340 million people. We only have 40 million. And so if the US is entirely wiped off the map of TikTok, how are we going to engage with TikTok as Canadians when 99% of our favorite creators are no longer posting? That's crazy, right? I mean, obviously we have some creators from Europe, some from Australia and wherever, but by and large, most of what we consume is via the USA. So I think it's going to completely dwarf that, kind of like Vine, but in a much more extreme way because it's had more time to grow and flourish. So I just wanted to talk about that because obviously I am a social media content creator, and I do kind of see a trend back maybe to Instagram and YouTube. So maybe we'll blow up again on here. I don't know. We'll see. But it's definitely something that we are keeping our eyes on. Now, I also want to talk about just dating stuff because, single woman living on her own, 29 years old now. And just kidding. And also, 2025 is just around the corner. And I really want to take things that I've learned from this year. It was kind of my first year of going on dates and things since my long-term relationship ended. I obviously took almost a year before I even went on went on like anything serious with a guy. That being said, I never found, someone that stuck with me. It's hard when you have higher standards because you want to always be dating someone more compatible than the last person you dated. And sometimes it feels like all the good ones are gone and snatched up as you get older, but who knows? It's obviously all in my mind. But regardless of that stuff, putting all of that aside, I think my biggest learning lesson and what I want to achieve in 2025 regarding my love life and dating is I want to remind myself that my goal in life is not to find a partner. It's not to feel completed by someone else. It's to focus on the things that I'm passionate about, live my life. And if I happen to find someone as an addition to my life, then that's amazing too. I saw a TikTok recently, which I know funny because of the previous topic, but I saw a TikTok of a woman, and I take it with a grain of salt because everyone's not, an educated licensed psychologist online. But she was saying that women, come on, like, let's stop wasting our time trying to court men, trying to find the right guy, trying to get married, trying to XYZ or have, a relationship fulfill our lives. Let's stop doing that because that is not the way that the average man thinks about relationships. You are never going to be reciprocated. Now, obviously, there are exceptions. There are men that will also be searching for, their partner, their soulmate that will complete them and whatever. There's going to be a small percentage like that. But by and large, and from my experience as well, I kind of agree with her. Like the way that men are kind of geared in society is not to prioritize a woman. It's to prioritize career, status, wealth, and power, and to focus on those things. And it's all about themselves, right? It's all about finding the best quality in their life, whether that's like their fitness, their, protein, their foods, their their jobs, their status, their whatever, their machismo or whatnot. And then they're focusing on that stuff because it's going to bring them long-term happiness no matter what. And then when relationships come and go, or they seek out a partner as an accessory to their life, they're not putting all their eggs in one basket. Whereas, you see time and time again, you'll see like the trophy wife or the woman who's the stay-at-home mom with unpaid labor as that mother. And once they divorce or things don't go their way, or he wants to do something she doesn't, she has no power to say no because she has no job history, or she doesn't have finances like he does, or she doesn't have, this insane independent life that she's built for herself. So that's why we're seeing a lot more women these days that are more independent and that are taking advantage of modern feminism, because we are able to sustain ourselves and we're able to kind of approach relationships from the same perspective of, I have inherent value on my own. I want to fight for the life that I want and earn that on my own, so that if I do introduce a man into my life, he has to meet certain qualities and standards in order for me to want to accept that kind of energy and to reciprocate it. I'm not going to chase after someone and cook for them and try to impress them and do XYZ for them and give up my hopes and dreams for them, because it's just not worth it at the end of the day. You never know how long that relationship could last. You never know if that person's going to change or leave you after you have a kid. So focus on yourself. Do what you love. Find passion outside of relationships. Stop seeking validation outside of your own accomplishments and from other people. And then I think you'll be so much happier, and people are going to be like magnets towards you. And I really want to reiterate that because it's something that I used to be much more a proponent of, but I think lately I've been a bit stagnant. And I'm always asking myself, why do I feel so lost lately? Why do I feel so lonely? Why do I feel, I live in the biggest city in Canada. I have tons of friends. I go out and do things, but why do I still feel lonely? And I think it's this mindset of like comparison where I'm like, oh, I have friends that are getting married, or I have friends that are in long-term relationships. I have friends that are, and I always compare myself to the things that I don't currently have. And even when I had a relationship, I was still comparing it, thinking, oh, it's not good enough. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a toxic trait of mine. And so rather than focusing on those things and on the comparisons and on the validation from others, I just want to do what I want to do, enjoy life, and not give a flying F what other people think. And so that's what I'm kind of leaning in towards for my 30th, which is next year, for 2025. I want that energy. I want that independence. And I just want to share that with you guys because I feel like a lot of us are probably going through these things. Look at Elio. If you guys are watching on YouTube, I just got him groomed today. He's never going to look better. He's got his little Burberry scarf. He's adorable. I love him so much. Who needs a man? I got Elio. Who needs a mother effing man? You're my man. But yeah, so definitely, and it's no hate to men or anything like that. Like, I love a good man in my life. I'm not going to deny that. But it's about finding more self-worth in yourself and not, opening yourself to people because you're seeking that validation and having those standards for yourself. And I think especially as trans women, we oftentimes are seeking that acceptance from others because we have been so marginalized throughout our lives. And so I'm always trying to unpack things through that lens. Like, what is, being trans to me? How does that affect me differently than it would the average woman? And how has that been something I need to overcome? And I talk time and time again about like hobbies I have and career goals I have. But I really, really, really want to make them come to fruition in 2025. I think I had like my little post breakup flings and whatever. And unless a man is going to be like, 100% communicative, honest, genuine, and amazing, like 10 out of 10 out of 10 out of 10, I'm not going to make space or time for any man anymore. I'm not going to try dating anymore. It's not my vibe. I don't want to waste my time. I even think that the apps are completely designed to keep you in a cycle. Obviously, like you can settle with someone you meet on the app, but like you're not necessarily going to meet your perfect person. And I think the chances are so rare. I find that they design it specifically so that you have to pay for the features in order to have quicker use and easier access. And I'm just not about that. I'm not going to be paying money to find my husband, like that sounds so inauthentic and disingenuous. And I find specifically with the apps, what they do is they market your profile to everyone. I think at this point in my life, I'm the most attractive I've ever been. I exercise the most I've ever exercised. I am the most, natural colored hair. Like, I'm proud of who I am in this moment, mostly in a superficial way, to be honest. And I think that the apps love that and they market that to people and they use your profiles in order to attract other people on the app, especially to get them to pay money, right? They categorize people of this is our knockouts for the week. This is our, best showcase. I've seen it. Like, this is the way they do it. It's like a tiered system of like them categorizing algorithms of these people are more desirable. Everyone swipes on these people. Everyone thinks this person's attractive. Like, they probably have metrics on your profile of like how many people swipe. Like, the back end is probably in fucking insane, the information that they have about their, their community, if you will. And they actually have sections that are like, your best bees or your, whatever it is on Hinge. And it's wild to me. It's crazy. And you can't have access to those unless you pay more. Like on my Bumble, for instance, it would say I have 10,000 people waiting to match with me and I can pay money to see who. And it's like 10,000 people. That's so uncomfortable, so insane. It's like they know that they're going to show you your most incompatible matches so that you get frustrated and then want to pay. But sometimes what happens is you end up matching with people that you wouldn't in a million years ever like go along with in real life because you just get exhausted by the algorithm and them showing you people that you start to think, oh, maybe this is like what my league is, or this is like what is out there and I just have to make do. And then it F's you over in the long run because you end up wasting time. It's like playing God with people's lives. And I find it messed up. So I'm just like done with it, DONE. Over, done, not my vibe. So that's the tea on that. I just had some experiences recently that like opened my eyes and I'm like, I don't need this. Like, outside of labels, outside of everything, outside of hot or not or X or Y or Z, I just want to be myself and live as who I am without seeing things through a sexualized lens or a romantic lens or anything like that, And I think that's a very it was like an epiphany moment. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's yapping session and episode. Obviously, it was just me ranting on ranting. And if you don't like my perspectives, let me know in the comments below. If you want me to talk about certain topics more or have any guests on, let me know about that as well. I really want to keep this podcast going. I just need to have some more momentum and some more ideas of what to talk about on here, because I feel like just talking about the news and like what's going on in the world is a little bit overdone, and I would like to figure out what you guys are the most interested in hearing about, and I will talk about that more. But thank you for tuning in, and happy brain rotting.
Special thanks to Brain Rot producers.